Hello everyone, welcome to the Phylum Annelida today. Today I'm talking to you about the Phylum Annelida. Annelida means segmented worms. The Phylum Annelida is talking about the segmented worms. We're going to go straight to the importance and the contribution of Phylum Annelida to the world, and the environment. Importance and biological contribution of Annelida. Annelida holds vital position in the animal kingdom. Why is it so? This is so because of the biological phenomenon which opens ways for wide complexity and variability in form and structure in animals. They made their first appearance in the group. These biological phenomena include metamerism, that is the body segmentation. This is the greatest advancement of this phylum and lays the foundation of the highly specialized metamerism of the arthropods. Number 2 biological phenomena is presence of coelom. Coelom means the body is filled with space between two layers of mesoderm. Metamerism is the division of the body of an animal into a linear series of similar rings or segments, each of which is built on more or less the same plan and resembling each other. The number of segments is usually constant and all are structurally identical. In metamerism, not only is there a serial repetition of homologous parts, that is, blood vessels, muscles, reproductive organs, and so on and so forth. But each of these parts worked in harmony with all other parts, the segments being integrated into a single functional unit. These segmental structures are interdependent. They are not independent. The youngest segments occur at the posterior end of the new segments, are formed in front of the last segment or pygidium. The evolutionary advent of metamerism is very significant. Why? Why metamerism is significant is because of the following. Number 1, segments can be specialized for different functions without interference with others. Number 2 reason why metamerism is very significant is because greater complexity in structure and function is made possible. And the third reason why metamerism is important is because repetition of body parts provides a built-in redundancy as in some human-made systems. This in turn provides a safety factor should one segment fail. So the segments are replaceable. They can work hand in hand. If one segment is having difficulty, another segment can come up and do the work. This in turn provides a safety factor should one segment fail. Others could still function. Thus, an injury to one part will not necessarily be fatal, will not lead to death of the animal. Metamerism is not restricted to the annelids. It is shared by the arthropods where it is highly developed and also by vertebrates. Annelids, however, demonstrate the phenomena in its least modified form. The evolution of a true coelom in animal has the following consequences. Total separation of the gut and its associated muscles from the body wall. Number 2 consequence is diffusion no longer adequate for food and gas transportation, conducting and linking system, that is the blood, becomes inevitable. Remember in the phylum Polyphera and other phylum that came earlier before we came to the annelids that diffusion is the means of transport and of most of the activities in the body. Another aspect is a total separation of the gut and its associated muscles from the body wall. Then complexity in organization, body no longer flattened. The body is no longer flattened. However, coelom profiles the following advantages. Number one, movement of the body wall without effect on the gut. The body wall can move without having any effect on the gut. Number two is that coelomic fluid serves as hydrostatic skeleton against which the muscles contract to produce movement. This also happens in the platyhelminthes. Number three advantage that coelom provides is that coelom fluid gives support and protection from external damage by acting as shock absorber. And then number four is that excretion and osmoregulation, waste product of metabolism, are stored in the coelom before elimination by nephridia. Remember, we mentioned nephridia previously for excretion. Accommodation of organs to perform functions independently. It allows organs to perform functions independently. And then reproduction. Since a portion of coelom forms the cavity of the gonads, gametes are shed into and mature in it. So the gametes are shed into the coelom and they mature in the coelom. The gametes are shed in the coelom and they mature in the coelom. That is talking about reproduction. Now, how does the name Annelida come about? The name Annelida was first of all used by Lamarck in 1809. You remember Lamarck in your SS1, SS2, SS3 biology, where he spoke about part of a natural selection or the use and disuse of organs, and perhaps in genetics. Lamarck was involved in some of those things. So the name Annelida was also used by Lamarck in 1809 for the higher segmented worms. Annelida, annelus means little ring, or to arrange in rings, are triploblastic. They are bilaterally symmetrical. They are metamerically segmented coelomates. They belong to the protosome branch of animal kingdom and have spiral cleavage and determinate development. The body is divided for the first time in the animal kingdom. You remember, we're taking the animal kingdom from the simplest and moving gradually to more complex. The body is divided for the first time in the animal kingdom into a linear series of metamerically arranged segments, or metameres. But all the segments are integrated into a single functional unit. All organ systems are present and they are well developed. Now, what are the characteristics of this phylum, the Phylum Annelida? What are their characteristics? Number one characteristic is that asexual reproduction is by budding in some of them. Number two is that free swimming trochophore larval stage is characteristics of indirect development, while in others, this stage is passed during the development. Number three characteristic feature of the Phylum Annelida is that in monoecious forms, development is direct but indirect in dioecious forms. Usually monoecious, that is hermaphrodite, dioecious or unisexual forms are also present. Blood vascular system is the closed type, that is blood confined to the blood vessels. The next number is that alimentary system is tube-like, complete, extending from the mouth to anus. That is number 6. Number 7 is that central nervous system consists of solid ventral double ganglionated nerve cord and paired dorsal cerebral ganglia, the brain. Number next is that excretory system consists of segmentally arranged paired nephridia, which open into the coelom and extract nitrogenous waste from it. Number 9, segmentally arranged paired setae or chaetae composed of chitin are typically present and they aid in locomotion. Number 10, organ system grade of body organization. Remember, you have cell, tissue, organ, then system. So this phylum has organ system grade or level of body organization. Number 11, mostly they are aquatic, either marine or freshwater. Some terrestrial, burrowing or living in tubes, sedentary or free living. Few are parasitic. And then number 12, they are triploblastic. This phylum, they are triploblastic. They are not just triploblastic, but they are also bilaterally symmetrical. This is number 12. And metamerically segmented coelomates. So they have coelom, and that is why they are said to be coelomates. These Phylum Annelida or Annelids are classified into 3 main classes, and the 3 classes are: number 1, polychaeta, that's the polychaetes, the class Polychaeta. The second class is Oligochaeta, and then the third class is Hirudinea. We will take the classes one after the other, and then we are going to look at their characteristics of each of the classes, and then we'll call it a day. So we'll quickly move to the class Polychaeta. Before we go on, in terms of reproduction, can you tell me the difference? Just think about it, the difference between the Phylum Annelida and the Phylum Rotifera. What is the difference in terms of reproduction between the Phylum Annelida and the Phylum Rotifera? And then with this difference, what do you think? What can you say about the difference that you have been able to notice in the Phylum Annelida and the Phylum Prolifera? Also, in the Phylum Cnidaria and the Phylum Annelida, what are the differences in terms of reproduction? Also, in the Phylum Ctenophora and the Phylum Nematoda and the Phylum Platyhelminths, what difference can you see in the reproduction of all these phylum that we have looked at in this course, in this subject, and in this lesson? You write out the phylum and then you write the differences in terms of reproduction. In your spare time, also write the differences in terms of expression, in terms of movement, in terms of respiration, in terms of nutrition, in terms of growth and reproduction, and then in terms of respiration, which I've already said that. So look at all this and let us know in your own spare time the differences. But I am majoring on the differences and how they reproduce from phylum to phylum. I'll be expecting you to write that down and to compare the differences and to tell what you observe based on the differences that you can see. Now we'll go to the class Polychaeta. The polychaetes, poly, poly means many, while chaetae or cheetah means bristus. So that means many bristles. The polychaetes are a larger class of the annelids with more than 10,000 species. They are marine and carnivorous in habitat with elongated and segmented body. The head is very distinct, very different, bearing numerous appendages. Numerous setae or chaetae are also present on the body and are borne on parapodia. Cirri or branchiae or both may be present for what? For respiration. So the question will be asked, what does the class Polychaeta or what is Cirri or branchiae used for? So it's respiration. Clitelium is absent and the sexes are separate in the phylum Polychaeta. In the class Polychaeta, beg your pardon, fertilization is external with free-swimming trochophore larval stage. Suckers are absent, but eyes are usually present. The gonads extend throughout the length of the body of the animal. In the class Polychaeta, the gonad extend throughout his body. Now, let's look at a specific example under the class Polychaeta, and we're looking at this organism in this class called Nereis diversicolor. Nereis diversicolor is found in muddy shores and estuarine mud flats. It lives in U-shaped burrows where it emerges onto the surface and extends its anterior part to capture food. The body is externally and internally divided into 100 segments. The animal is predatory in habit with muscular evasible pharynx, armed with jaw and teeth to capture prey. The parapoda are rich in blood supply and used in respiration as well as locomotion. So under the class Polychaeta, we have looked at Nereis diversicolor. Nereis diversicolor. Yes, we've looked at the class, the organism of the genus Nereis and the species diversicolor. I said they are predatory. So the assignment for you under this aspect is that on what do they prey? If Nereis diversicolor is predatory, is a predator, on what does it prey? So that is the answer to the question. Give me like 2, 3, 4, 5 organisms that Nereis preys on. We'll move quickly to the class Oligochaeta. Oligochaeta. Oligo means few. Chaeta means bristles, as we've seen before. Now, oligo, few bristles. Polychaeta, many bristles. So, if the diagram of a polychaeta is drawn and the diagram of an oligochaeta is drawn, which one will have plenty of bristles? It is the polychaeta, because poly means many. Oligo means few. So, it's very, very simple to detect. You know, I've said it that you should have a dictionary with you so that when you know the English word, you can be able to easily nab it and be able to understand what it means. This class Oligochaeta, they include familiar earthworms. Earthworm is an oligochaete. It belongs to the class Oligochaeta. I think that's taken. Earthworm are a good friend, the friend of the farmer, the friend of everyone on earth. It belongs to the class Oligochaeta. That means it has few bristles. And many species that live in freshwater are also part of this class. They are mostly terrestrial, but few are freshwater. Their body is with conspicuous external segments, which correspond with inner septa. Distinct head, eyes, and tentacles are absent. It has no distinct head, it has no distinct eye, it has no distinct tentacles. Though few cheetah are usually arranged segmentally, they are also parapodia. The clitellum is usually present. Gonads are confined to few genital segments. They are monoecious. That means male and female organs are found in the same animal. That means they are hermaphrodites. Development is direct and takes place within cocoons secreted by clitellum. There is no free larval stage. The clitellum is like a swelling around the part of the earthworm. What is the biology of Libiodrilus? Libiodrilus is an example of the class Oligochaeta. Libiodrilus is a West African U-drilled earthworm. It is found in every type of soil except very dry and acidic soils. They prefer non-acidic soils in decaying organic matters, usually found in gardens, pastures, lawns, irrigated farmlands, banks of ponds, lakes, and rivers. The rainy season is the most favorable period for these worms. Externally, the body is long, pointed, with 120 to 175 segments, corresponding exactly to the number of internal septa. However, all the body segments are alike except the first and the last segments. The first segment is called peristomium, while the last is called pygidium. All the segments, as well as the glandular cells of the clitellum, secrete mucus, albumen, and other materials necessary for the formation of cocoons. Due to the presence of clitellum, the body is divided into the following parts. Number one part is preclitellum region. This forms the anterior part of the body, lying between first and 13th segment. Then we have the second, which is the clitellum region. This is formed by segment 14 to 17. Take note. Then the third region, postclitellum region. This region is the postclitellum region is represented by all the segments of the body after clitellum. That is, it starts from 18 segments up to the last segment of the body. Now, we want to still continue talking about the biology of Libiodrilus. We just took a kind of digression to talk about the division of the clitellum. Now, how does this organism reproduce? Reproduction may occur at any season, whether it is rainy or dry season, whether it's the winter or summer, but usually copulation takes place at night when atmospheric condition is warm and moist. Fertilization of eggs occurs within the cocoon, and the form that hatches from the egg is a young form similar to adults. However, it does not develop a clitellum until it is sexually mature. The earthworms, though appear to be insignificant animals, they are of great economic importance to man in many ways, and they are very important to man in agriculture. They are important to man in so many ways, and we're going to see some of the ways that they are important as follows. Number one, they are used in manufacture of drugs in India and in other countries, other advanced countries. They are used as bait in fishing. When people go fishing, they use them as bait because fishes eat them. So the fish come for them, and then the hook gets the fish. They improve soil fertility. How do they improve soil fertility? The burrowing and soil feeding habits enhance soil porosity, thus permitting aeration and quick absorption of water. This also brings fresh soil to surface, which is rich in organic matter. They also increase the organic content of the surface layers of soil by dragging plant materials into their burrows, thus favoring plant growth. I want you to look for other uses or other benefits of the earthworm and put them in your memory. However, earthworms also have some disadvantage or have harmful effects, and some of their harmful effects are as follows. They aid or support soil erosion. Number two, they cause damage to young plants by eating them bit by bit. Number three, some of them act as secondary hosts for the completion of life stages of some parasites, which directly or indirectly affects them. So these are some of the benefits and disadvantages of the earthworm. As told us earlier that under the phylum Annelida we have three classes. The first class is the polychaeta. The second class is the oligochaeta, which are the earthworms, and then the third class is the Hirudinea, and the Hirudinea consists of the leeches. So quickly we're going to look at the third class, and then after looking at the third class we look at the representative organism, and then we call it a day for the phylum Annelida. You have to still go on the library, check the internet, and read more materials. I also advise you to check other YouTube videos where you can learn more about this important phylum. Now, looking at the class Hirudinea, that is the leeches. The class Hirudinea contains over 300 species and are predominantly found in freshwater habitats, but a few are marine and some are terrestrial. You will see differences between the three classes of this phylum. One majorly marine, one majorly freshwater, one can live in freshwater and can also live in the marine. So take note of that also. A few of the class Hirudinea are marine and some are terrestrial. They adapt to warm and moist places. They are more abundant in tropical countries than in temperate zones. They are the most specialized annelids. The body is divided metamerically into segments, but the number of segments, unlike other annelids, is always fixed at 33. So in this class, the segments are fixed at 33. In the Hirudinea, which are the leeches, please take note. External segmentation is usually more than internal segmentation. The head is not distinct, but with eyes. They lack parapodia and chaetae. There are two types of suckers, one at the anterior end and the other posteriorly situated. The coelom is largely occluded body, almost solid. Leeches are hermaphrodites, with the gonads restricted to few genital segments. Clitellum is present, though may not be obvious. There is no larval stage. Development is always direct. Development in Hirudinea is always direct. Now we'll go and look at the biology of Hirudo medicinalis, which is a representative of the class Hirudinea. The medicinal leech Hirudo medicinalis is found in marshes, ponds, and streams. It is a true blood sucker, feeding mainly on blood sucked from mammals. As blood sucker, the chaetae normally used by the oligochaetes in locomotion have been lost and replaced by the suckers used for attachment while sucking blood. The gut is specialized for storage of large quantities of blood, hence they feed infrequently. Its salivary glands secrete anticoagulant hirudin, that's the name of the anticoagulant, which prevent blood clotting during feeding. One meal can nourish the animal for up to 6 months. Before digestion, man-made use of Iridium medicinalis to suck blood from swollen parts of patients, hence the name medicinal leech. When fingers or toes are severed, microsurgeons can reconnect arteries, but not more delicate veins. Leeches are used to relieve congestion until the vein can grow back into the healing digit. Now, we've taken our time to look at the phylum Annelida today. And as I said earlier, this material have been picked from the internet and put together with different notes and different YouTube videos have been seen with previous knowledge and everything put together so that you can get the best. So the next thing I'll be sending forth now is the diagrams of these the classes and the other parts. I'll send the diagrams across now, and then you note them, and then you look at the diagrams, and then you try to practice them. As you're reading, look at the diagram and look at the features so that will help you to remember. I'm going to talk to you some other time. Bye for now. Please study your materials very well. All the questions I've asked you, send them in because they are going to be used. Bye for now.